Eric G. Tabor. We're going to be talking through this Week 14 slate. Wow, it feels like not that long ago that the season started, and the projections were going to be very early today because there's a lot of games without projections yet, so we're going to have to figure out some of this stuff on our own. But look, I'm excited for this next week. The last couple of football weeks have been solid enough. I haven't had the big one, but I've done decent enough, and getting ready for this. I don't really. It's hard to have overall thoughts for me without getting.
No, you could do this. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not the greatest at making my own projections in football, but forgive me if I speak out of turn here. But I believe that Isaac Arindo will be a good play.
Yeah,
that's just me. Hopefully nobody notices.
I'm
just guessing that I'm not going to be the only one to play it. So So let me start let me share my screen, and this is going to start my career in data science, so to speak. is I believe that Isaac Arindo, with Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason and Eli Mitchell, right? Oh, and the coach saying that it's going to be all him.
Yep.
I think that he's going to be a decent player.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just one man.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure he's going to be looking like a near lock play by the time we actually get the projections out there. That's one game that I don't have a projection for yet. But yeah, it's interesting. It's gonna be another one of those. Are we paying down for these weird quarterbacks, or what are we doing slates? Any overall thoughts, or should we just get into it?
Let's just get into it.
Okay. Jets in Miami. What do you like, if anything, here?
So I imagine that A-Chain, as usual, is going to show up, and I might be stubborn or whatever. I don't know why I think this, but I still don't think the Jets' defense is that bad. I don't know if people are going to go after all this Miami stuff. Let me see. Well, we'll see some of these prices. What's Hill? He's still only 7,100. He did luck into a touchdown last week. Finally.
Yeah.
Waddle still only 5,400. It's very tempting, dude. I mean, it really is. I even given what I just said, it's just very tempting to just play Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with Tua at home. You know what I mean? Remember, it's an enormous park upgrade for Miami. You know what I mean? Coming from the frozen tundra of Green Bay. You know what I mean? Home to Miami. I think that this is has to be something to consider. So I'm gonna put in right now Tua, Hill, Jonnu Smith, of course, and Jalen Waddle, and just because again it's on the other, the weather's nice, and Rodgers certainly doesn't give an F anymore. You run it back with any of these turkeys, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, sure, why not? So I'll start off with something like this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it is reasonable to play the Miamis. I think A-Chain is going to be really popular. I think Hill will be popular, but maybe not quite as much as people think. If Jonnu Smith isn't popular, I don't know what to tell you guys. It feels like every time I look up, it's Jonnu Smith making the most athletic play a tight end's ever made for a touchdown. He's put up 23 or more in 3 straight games. That feels like the easiest. The two.
Well, the only problem is you have freaking Brock Bowers, so it's
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That's true. But you can play them both.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I probably am going to end up a little more interested in the Jets this week by the end of it. I don't know why. I just have I watched them play a lot last week. And I mean, Devontae Adams may have only caught 5 passes, but he had 12 targets?
Yep.
6,700. That feels reasonable. Breece Hall feels reasonable. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on Aaron Rodgers, but it wouldn't shock me if there was one throwback game he has before the end of the year. And there's no reason this couldn't be it in 76-degree weather in Miami.
Yeah.
So, all those things. This game definitely is one of the ones that's it's not my favorite game on the slate, but it's one of the ones I'm considering. All right, Atlanta and Minnesota.
I would like to say that I have seen the best and the worst of Kirk Cousins in my DFS lifetime and my football lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen a throw as bad as the one that he floated into the end zone.
Sheets, he made like 2 other throws like that in the same game. It was crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really bad.
I mean, that was just really, really bad. Now, with that said, we got some revenge, right? We got Kirk Cousins, right? And didn't he play in Minnesota for a while?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely when a guy is just kind of like, fishy about his decision making, Brian Flores is not the guy you want to go after, I think. But Weathers should be good in there. I think that both sides of this game are probably playable. So I like Darnold's, Jefferson, although Jefferson really hasn't done much. Shouldn't say done much, whatever. Aaron Jones, I don't know what the total is, but it's got to be one of the top totals on the slate. I imagine. And the Atlanta guys, the usual, Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and even the other dude, forget. But yeah, I think this game's very reasonable.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I have to target. It's actually only 45.5 as the total, and it does feel a little low, but it's still higher than most of the games on the slate. So it's there. And like the Cousins thing. I mean, so he's thrown no touchdowns and 6 picks in his last 3 starts.
Oh my God.
It feels wrong, and also I think that if they weren't playing in Minnesota, that they would start Michael Penix.
What's Minnesota's defense? 5K today? I mean, like,
no, it's actually it's only 3,400. Yeah. What's weird is that the early projections are always hard to go on, but I like Jefferson, but I'm into this Jordan Addison a little bit. Like
sure.
they like him, and I like the Drake London. There's definitely some frustration he has with Cousins, and it showed by him quitting on a few plays. But I think this is a very just stackable game. I could just go through all the names, but I really don't see anybody who I'm not considering playing. And I think TJ Hawkinson might be one of the better tight end options if you're not playing, Jonnu or Brock Bowers, but as a cheaper one, he's one of the ones I like. And you could throw Pitts in the mix as well, but this is definitely a game that I definitely want to have. I want to say more than the field, but I'm not sure where the field's going to end up at. My first look is that this is one of the ones I'm definitely targeting as a game stack. All right. Now we've got New Orleans in New York.
Yuck. just yuck. I guess first question is, so Tyreek Hill. Taysom Hill is out. So it's going to be another day, another dollar for Alvin Kamara, I guess. He's 8K, and some of the things that have stopped us from really jamming him, that being Taysom Hill, is now out. So I think that he's going to be very, very strong play, and he's going to be pretty popular. I think this combination, I'm just guessing again, of Kamara and Garendo is going to be very popular, unless some other cheap running back shows up, and we'll get into some of that. I also don't mind the other side of this. Both the alphas on the Giants, that being Tyrone Tracy and Malik Neighbors. They certainly didn't look great against Dallas, whatever. But nonetheless, the Saints are not great either. So I'll take another shot at Neighbors, and I will take another shot at maybe Tyrone Tracy, I guess. Nothing else from the Saints, I don't think.
Yeah, right now I just have Neighbors and Kamara and nothing else except for the defenses. I don't know what else to do with this game. I honestly like the Saints are 5-point favorites, which feels like it shouldn't even be allowed.
On the road.
On the road in New York, it's like, but I kind of like the Neighbors idea. I can sell myself on that belief, and he's affordable enough to where you certainly can play him. So I'm interested in a little bit in Neighbors. But yeah, this is not a game that I'm going to be stacking. I can promise that. All right, Carolina and Philadelphia. This is a bet. Shout out to, first of all, Philadelphia's been playing great, obviously, but Carolina has been playing a lot better than people maybe thought. At least they have something to root for again in Carolina.
Well, I'll say this about this game. only one of these teams is going to know going in that they're going to try for 4 quarters. Okay, and that's the Panthers. Okay, Philadelphia's a 400-point favorite, and they're coming off of the game against Baltimore. They are hoping, and whatever it is, there's just no chance in hell that they are max prepping and max, you know what I mean? Like max getting ready for this game. It's just a natural letdown type game in general. Now there's other stuff going on here, so we don't have to talk about it yet, but apparently if Saquon Barkley gets like, was it 600 more yards or something like that, he could break like the rushing record.
Yeah.
The unfortunate reality, though, is that that's not his style. He took himself out of the game when
he's too nice of a guy. Like he's the nicest person.
Right. Remember all that clip that he took himself out of the game when they wanted to put him back in to get the Philly rushing record or something like that.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if it gets down to the last game of the season, and they don't really need to win, they could give a crap about the record he is sitting. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that, but I guess I don't know. I don't think I can pay up for Hurts here. AJ Brown. I mean, these guys they could eat, I guess, but I just don't think I'm going to get there. Now, if you really want to troll game, you'll play David Moore from Carolina.
Right.
He actually did get, if I'm not mistaken, he did get a bunch of targets. Let me just see. He did get 9 targets.
Yeah, he did.
So everybody who criticized the play, I mean, if you told me he was getting 9 targets, I would have played him. You know, right. They jacked him up to 4K, which is a little annoying. And you're probably gonna get the game script you want. You know who else is pretty good? Thielen. Yeah, they robbed him of a touchdown. Well, robbed him. It was a tough call. I think it was a tough call.
I think it was a touchdown though. I'm surprised they didn't call it a touchdown.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, the pole was blocking it a little bit. You know, it was a tough call to make. But you know what they're like. You know what? Thielen already has like 400 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like
he doesn't need another
one. Leggett was. I mean, so I think all these Carolina guys can get there in a good game script. Even Chubbard's too expensive. I mean, if Chubbard were like 5,200 or something, I would try it. So I don't know. I mean, you're gonna get to these Philly guys?
Yeah, I'll do it. Like it's the best running matchup basically that's out there. Like I gotta take a shot with Barkley here. I think they might force his way to like. And you know what? I think it's going to be more than anything because he's actually a legitimate MVP candidate. He's not going to probably win, but he's 6-1 now. Like I mean, I think that if those plays near the goal line on first down, if it's first and goal from the 2, I don't think we're just looking for the whatever the Philly special, the little quarterback's push. I think we're going to see Barkley having more of those opportunities, which is why I do like him, and I could see him having a big day. 9K is a lot, but he has obviously been every bit of worth it. And if you want to get something at really low ownership that has a huge upside, why not take a shot just with AJ Brown? He's not going to get any ownership. He's expensive, but talk about some, ceiling. I think Devontae Smith's still questionable, but may play. If there was a game to sit him out again, this is probably it. And then I only have Thielen as a guy to consider, but I don't really want to stack this game. I just have this feeling Carolina plays a little bit feistier than people think in this one. That's just my guess. We're seeing the best stuff we've seen out of Bryce Young so far. Philadelphia, you can throw the ball on them, even though they've been really good lately. Maybe there's a path for this game to be so I don't have it as a game stack right now, but it's one I might reconsider. And either way, I do think I'm going to have Barkley. And I think if you're playing cash, even if you're worried about Philly sitting guys or whatever, I think you're still playing Barkley in cash if you can. I really think you should be.
The other thing I would say, a couple more things about this. For whatever this is worth, I think Goddard's going to sit. So that's probably more work even for AJ Brown, perhaps. Yeah. Especially, I think Devontae Smith's got a good chance to sit again. I mean, they're a 15-point favorite, whatever the hell they are. Why play them? Honestly.
Fair enough.
And then the other thing about it is, the other thing that annoys me is when Philly gets that lead, they just cram it and they put 12-minute drives up. It's I don't know about the ceiling for these guys, but listen, we'll see.
Yeah. They have and just for what it's worth, they do have the individual highest total on the slate. Not that.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, I guess. It'd be weird if they didn't. All right, Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
So aside from Pittsburgh's defense, okay, which is obviously in play, because if you're going against Jameis Winston, you're in play. You just are.
Oh, yeah.
Then on the other hand, if Jameis Winston is on the field, he's in play. He just totally is. Yeah, Pittsburgh's tough, and they're going to be bringing the heat, and he don't care. Like, he's going to just sit back, look up to the Lord, and sling it down the field. That's it. And he's got, with Tillman out, obviously you saw what Judy can do. You have, what's his name? Njoku's right in there. You got even Elijah Moore was doing stuff. I was a little concerning that, I mean, they really limited Chubb in that game. They actually interviewed the coach at halftime, and they asked him, "Hey, is Chubb okay?" He's like, "Yeah, no, he's fine. We're happy with our mix, whatever it is." So even the announcer's like, "Well, when's Chubb coming in?" In any case, I don't think I can do that. But listen, until the Jameis Winston experience proves otherwise, you just have to be on that side every single game. You just do. So
yeah.
That's my opinion there.
I agree, but the thing I'd throw in there is that, like, Jameis is if there isn't a week that can tell you more about how you can play a defense against the quarterback that you're playing.
Yeah,
he is that guy. Like, because he still might throw for 400 yards and they might lose whatever, but they might throw a pick six in there and fumble twice and whatever. Still play, and he's going to take a bunch of sacks too. That helps as well. But I just think you have to take some, like, if you're multi-entering, especially if you're playing like 150, I just think you have to have like a little bit of Jameis exposure. And I mean, I know it was Cincinnati, but they obviously put up 38 on Pittsburgh. I don't think it's impossible. I think Najee Harris is the obvious play. I think Calvin Austin is an interesting spend down. And I think that George Pickens is fine, but I don't want to get overly into this game. I know I will have at least like a game stack or two. I don't know how many, but I just think you have to play a little bit of Jameis every week if you're multi-entering, and his receivers. And you can kind of mix and match the receivers, because Judy went crazy, Njoku went crazy. And I agree that I don't know if Chubb is playable right now. Like, he's averaging like 2 yards per carry. He's clearly not the same guy moving wise, and also they're not playing for anything except for Jameis. That seems to be the face of their franchise. By the way, they might have had a much better season if they just let Jameis go from the very beginning. We didn't need the 10 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever the hell it was of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, so definitely there's nothing to revenge, especially in football. Like Judy had absolutely no interest in going back to Denver and proving anything last week. He only talked his mouth off the whole day leading up to the game, and put up like a world record performance. So I literally don't want to hear it, especially when everything else sets up perfectly. Tillman's out, and if you asked him, he couldn't even tell if they won the game or not. Because he would have been more than happy losing by 11. Putting up doing what he ended up doing in the game.
Right.
In any case, I will say also that despite his performance last week, I think that the Browns defense at 2,400 is super live here against Russell.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's nearly minimum cost, and I've got Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Like, that's good. That's good enough for me. And I'll tell you this, if in fact, like, Winston decides to start slinging it around and turn this into a freaking shit show, I don't know if Russell Wilson can participate in a shit show. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll see. Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, I hear you. Wow, they've made this next one's interesting. Vegas and Tampa.
So okay. Well, Bucky Irving, is he? Oh, he's not legit questionable. He's legit good, is what he is. So Bucky Irving at 6,600 as I imagine a 6-point favorite or something like that, right? I'm just guessing.
7, yeah.
7. I mean, I think I might even prefer him to Kamara. I don't know. Definitely definitely considering it. The other guy, a couple of other guys here. So Mike Evans, he remains in play. 7K is a little tough, but whatever. Brock Bowers is freaking beast, 6,500. I say tight end, but at wide receiver, whatever he plays nowadays. Jacoby Myers had, he is doing exactly what he's sort of being paid to do. You know what I mean? Like he's getting open and catching balls. He actually had he had a deep one, I think, actually in that game too. So I think those two will look pretty good here. I think this game can possibly deliver. Who else from Tampa? Not much. I think there's better plays than Otten this time. It's actually kind of amazing to see what happened. Like Michael Mayer, he's like it's a tough situation because I think on almost any other team, like he's like an amazing young tight end prospect.
Yes, I agree 100%.
He's like probably like the second best like young tight end in the game. You know what I mean? Like, except for the first one is on his team.
Well, yeah, they took him back to back, but they haven't exactly implored the old Patriots way with playing Gronk and Aaron.
They haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, listen. I presume this game could do something. I'm not going to play I'm not going to play O'Connell or anything like that. But you could one off Bowers. You could one off Myers.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Tampa Bay games get a little goofy. For whatever reason. So I'm kind of into that idea, like of getting something here, like Myers and Bowers on the one side, Evans and Bucky, as you mentioned. But I would throw in like a couple of other things. Like I'm not crossing Aiden O'Connell off my list yet, which feels weird to say out loud because I've been very much on this is not a guy I ever really want to play. But if you're going to beat Tampa Bay, you're going to have to throw the ball. And he's got guys you can naturally pair him with one or both of Myers and Bowers. And I think that it's reasonable. And I think Evans and Irving as a run back, I could see this game getting a little wild. We've seen those Tampa Bay games quite a few times get kind of wild this year.
When I first looked at the board and I wanted to just build something, this was the game that I looked at first, actually, Jacksonville, Tennessee game. Because of prices. So what I looked at first is just a very simple Levis at 5K against a bad defense. And with Calvin Ridley and your hero, Westbrook-Ikhine, and maybe even Tony Pollard. And then Jacksonville coming back, the Brian Thomas Jr., it makes everything else work in your lineups. And listen, this could be a stupid AFC South 17-13 game, but it doesn't have to be. Tennessee. I still go back to that Tennessee freaking Detroit game when Tennessee themselves put up like 21 points in the first half. So I don't know. Like, listen, neither team cares. And the first thing that goes when nobody cares is the defense. So I don't know. I think that's got a lot of cheap pieces in this game. I think it could get you exposures to other guys if you want to play Barkley. You know what I mean? Like if you want to play Kamara, you want to play the more expensive guys. I think that you can work around this. Yeah,
the only thing I actually feel like for most of the season now, it certainly wasn't true the last couple of weeks, but the Titans actually defense I thought played pretty well most of this year. And I mean, first of all, I like them as a defense this week. They gave up 42 to Washington. They gave 32 to Houston before that. But going back some games against some decent teams, they were, even without their offense being able to move the ball, they were still holding them enough in check to some extent. But yeah, I'm having trouble with the Mac Jones part of it. I do like the Will Levis side a little bit, but I feel like a lot of his numbers are garbage time numbers, and this game is probably going to be close. So it's a little tough, but okay, as an outside, are we really just going to fade the Westbrook-Ikhine again? Because I mean, early on, like his projection is extremely low. This guy has a touchdown, in 8 straight games now? Or is 8 in the last 8 games? Either way. I think it's 8 in the last 8 games or something like that. Look, one big play is usually how he gets there. And why wouldn't this be the spot where that happened? And then you throw Calvin Ridley in the mix. So yeah, I could see myself making more of a Tennessee stack without like loving anything but Thomas from the Jacksonville side. I know there's going to be people who love the Evan Ingram play, and that's okay. I just would rather play the greatest tight end of all time and Jonnu Smith and Brock Bowers. Just kidding. But Jonnu Smith and Brock Bowers I have a little bit ahead of Ingram this week.
Well, as you would say, play them both.
Yeah, I can't play all three of them though. That's the problem.
No, you can't.
That's the only thing. I missed the old draft days where this is where I made like literally built a whole bankroll. It felt like free money because you could just play anybody you wanted to, and all you had to do was just not play the top projected guys, and you were immediately just different. And it was so easy to win forever. I mean, this is before projections.
You like Pollard at all?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I forgot to mention him, didn't I? Yeah. I think Pollard is probably going to be one of the more popular running backs, and for pretty good reason, actually. So yeah, I'm good with Pollard.
Well, if I had it in me, I mean, look at this shit show lineup this is. I mean, if I really had it in me, just jam the whole thing.
Just immediately, like you immediately get like the touchdown pass, then the pick six, then the team has to come back, then they hit a touchdown, then another pick six or the other way, and then it just like you could all go wild. Like
I can't even spend my salary. I literally can't even spend the rest of it.
Oh,
you play Barkley. There it is.
There it is. That's
Oh
how
my
you do
God. There it is.
What if this is like the winner and we're not good?
There it is. Well, I was having this conversation with someone about hockey the other day, about Hockey Get Best. They're like, oh, you like to these big onslaught stacks. I mean, yeah, you got to be right once. You know what I mean? Right. You got to be right about one thing. You know, so sort of if you play like this with this Tennessee, you got to be right about one thing, that the game goes ballistic. The game goes ballistic. These are the guys I want, right? So there you go. Let's go.
I agree.
All right, so we're going on, I think, like at least 5, it seems like 55 straight weeks where we're 100% sure that the 4 o'clock games are gonna bail everybody out, and they've put up no points, like, ever.
Last week they actually did.
You sure?
Yeah, it was like because Sutton had a huge game. Oh, actually, nobody in the early part of the slate did very well. So it was grading on a curve.
Sutton was a night game.
No, he was on. No, he was on the night game on Monday.
I thought you meant 2 weeks ago.
Hold on, yeah, 2 weeks ago. You're right. I'm sorry, my bad. I got the weeks mixed up. Sorry, Sheets.
I don't know. So I'll ask you the same question I always ask you about these types of games. So is Seattle, Arizona 35-30 or 13-10? It seems as though Arizona's been playing nothing but 13-10s.
And Seattle basically too, except for their offense keeps giving up touchdowns. But yeah, both these teams have been good defensively, better defensively than they have been offensively. We just saw them play the low-scoring game against each other. But I still think that on this slate, because I don't love that much, we talked about a bunch of plays, but I'll take another stab at the pass catchers for Seattle, and I'll take another shot maybe with like a skinny Tyler to Trey McBride stack. Now Trey McBride catches every. The problem is, again, you have the other great tight ends that you like. The Trey McBride catches everything. He just doesn't have a touchdown this season, but he's going to be like one of the league leaders in catches. So I don't mind that as a potential stack. I have to put it on my list because it's just lack of enough games, really.
Right.
What do you think about it? Anything? Are you into it at all?
I don't know. I just know what I see, and I just see that these games always bust. So I don't think I'm going to do it.
Fair enough.
Connor, I guess, looks reasonable enough, but I prefer him to be a little cheaper. Like all these guys look reasonable enough. Now, again, obviously look for DK Metcalf news. Coming out of that game, questionable, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's out, then it's all free with JSN, whatever.
Yeah.
Both of them might be good plays anyway, like you said. And Kenneth Walker, obviously, he's looks decent enough, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think that I think DK and JSN are both in play anyway. I seem to get the wrong one in my good lineups every week, but I still like both of them this week.
So when is it going to happen? When is San Francisco? It's every week. When are they going to put up a game that's representative of a team that befits their massive expectations?
Yeah.
Obviously, last week was just, literally the worst of all case scenarios. First of all, you had Christian McCaffrey shredding Buffalo, okay, in his first 5 or 6 carries.
Right.
He was, and I talked about this when I was on Twitter, like when you have these snow games, if you find a running back that can actually grip the freaking ground, they're going to score 200 freaking points. Okay. Because
Right.
no one can cut with them. You know what I mean? And he was doing it, and then their whole season ended. You know what I mean? In like 1 second. Completely came up lame, and I really doubt he's going to return for the season. And it's completely demoralizing. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not like they were out. Every week they just seem like, okay, we're going to put it together. We still have enough, whatever it is. And of course, this is going to be the week where it all clicks and they stomp on somebody, I guess. But let's start with Garendo. I mean, he's 5,400, going to get all the work. He's going to, he's a lock. Deebo Samuel has certainly looked pretty bad. But I guess he's got to be in play. Jennings is the guy that I would probably play. Jennings and Purdy, they're going to look good. So Jennings, Purdy, Garendo, maybe even Kittle. And then on the Chicago side, I mean, I don't have it in me to come back with Caleb Williams, really. But I have no problem with kind of one-offs of a couple of these guys. Like Keenan Allen, he made some freaking move. I
that was awesome.
Oh, you know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was just insane. Okay. So 5,600. He's earned a few dollars, with that move of mine. You know what I mean? Like I can throw a little of him coming from behind. Adunze 5K coming from behind. Like any of these three guys. I don't know if I have it in me to pull like a full, whatever. One thing about San Francisco, they do have a lot of pride, and their defense is going to come out like freaking. You know what I mean? They're gonna play well. So I don't think I'm gonna go after this game that much from both sides, but I don't know. Garendo's obviously the main guy, and I don't know. What do you think?
This is like this is a game where obviously you're like Garendo, like as we talked about, I think is just going to be like, he's going to be 1,000,000% owned, and I'm totally there. No. But I have this as like a second tier potential stack, like probably worth noting that Caleb has kind of been going nuts quietly. He played great in the second half of that Lions game. Like I thought he was terrific, and
he was awesome.
Then you get the new coaching theory.
Yeah.
First game is at San Francisco, but it also feels like it could go the other way, and maybe San Francisco just pours it on finally. At the same time, I don't have as much respect for San Francisco's defense as I used to, based on how they've looked. So I like and I was very wrong. I got some games right last week. I got that one very, very wrong. I thought San Francisco would upset the Bills. We'll get to another Bills thing in a second, but I don't mind both sides of this thing. I don't mind. There's a lot of talk about what happened. Deebo Samuel's now washed. All this stuff. Kittle should be back this week with no McCaffrey. I sort of like taking some shots on this game, but it's a secondary stack for me because you want to generally run the ball against San Francisco, and this is a passing team, the Bears. But I have a little bit of interest in Moore, a little bit of interest in Allen, a little bit of interest in Samuel, a little bit of interest in Kittle, and a ton of interest in Garendo. And I think Purdy's a very reasonable way to get off the Garendo chalk. I think you could still play them together, but I don't think people are going to play the passing game of San Francisco very much.
I think San Francisco's defense is obviously going to be really in play, and Caleb Williams takes sacks like it's his job.
Yep.
So I do like that. And the other thing about San Francisco, I totally forgot, is that with McCaffrey out, I mean, you're going to get running back touches from Samuel as well.
Yeah.
So Samuel can get there in that way as also if you want to take a shot at him. Remember, you're going to hear this narrative all week is that he's done, he's finished, he's washed, or whatever. But they'll run plays for him, especially with McCaffrey out.
And he's never been this cheap before, ever.
It's not.
And there's no Brandon Ayuk, but that hasn't mattered all season. So, all right, what do you think about this Buffalo Rams game? Because I've got some.
Well, I love the Rams, by the way, against the spread. I don't know what the spread is exactly. What is it? Buffalo by a few points, maybe?
It's Buffalo by 4.5.
It's a big number.
They're on all the latest power rankings. They're number one by everybody's metrics, and I think it's.
I mean, coming off of that game, you know what I mean, and then going into LA. I mean, it's these are the things I bet against my whole life. Right. So I don't know what else to say. I do like the Rams here, and boy, that would be a pretty nice reverse troll also with everybody pounding the double stack last week, and not getting there. Go right back against what is allegedly a good defense,
Well, somebody won the 555 million with that double stack.
Oh, did they really?
Or no, you know, it was Kyron and one of them. I can't. It might have been Kyron and.
Well, that was the play. You know, we talked about that. Though, it's playing Kyron there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if you still believe this, but I'm still of the belief that Buffalo is not that great. You know, and I'm the belief that their defense is not that great. And last I checked, the Rams still have a completely condensed target share with those two. Now, that said, every time I looked up, it seemed like DeMarcus Robinson was getting the ball.
It was weird, right?
Yeah, but he didn't even. You know, it just seemed that
it felt like it.
Yeah, but I do like to go right back to those two guys, and the Rams against the spread. Those are my two opinions there.
Yeah, I have the Rams to win outright. I'm completely with you. For what it's worth, it's this home. The only thing I don't like about that spread is that I feel like Buffalo should be like 7.5-point favorites based on how their teams are perceived, because the Rams don't really get a home game against Buffalo. Let's be real here. The Rams don't get a home game against anyone, and probably nobody has more passionate fans than Buffalo. Now, the only good thing is LA is not a city where like people generally go from Buffalo to LA. It's not like Philadelphia where everybody, for whatever reason, who was in Philadelphia now, well, maybe because it's so cold there, they all seem to live in LA, so it's all green. So I mean, again, it's a home. It's not as much of a home field advantage as it would be for most teams. But I like this game. It's the highest total on the slate. I like the Rams. I think they can do something here. I also, at the same time, I have some interest in Josh Allen, and I have some interest in James Cook. I know Cook hasn't really had and we're worried about Ray Davis, but he's kind of quietly been pretty damn good. And the Rams have been beaten up on the ground about a number of times this year. So I'm into this game. I'm into the Rams side of it. I'm into the Bills side of it, but I'm into the Rams definitely to win this game. And partly they definitely need to win this game if they want to have any chance of staying in there. And as much as it's like, I think Buffalo, don't get me wrong, I don't want to say they're not, they've proven me wrong by being really good. I want to see them play the Eagles. I want to see them play, well, they played Baltimore and they just got beaten out everything. They were just deaded right away. I'd like to see them play KC in KC again, or in the playoffs. I'd like to see them play all the other teams and just see.
You might get your chance.
I think so. And by the way, if somehow you know what's interesting is that they're this and all these things. What do you think the spread would be if the Ravens were playing in Baltimore? I'm sorry, in Buffalo.
Ravens in Buffalo?
Yeah.
That would make Buffalo 2.5 again. I mean, whatever. Which
means you think that would imply that the Ravens are then a better team?
No, it implies they're about even. I think it's by 3 points.
Yeah, okay. I would call it, usually that's 3, but I get you. But they already beat them in Buffalo by 30 or whatever. I don't know. I don't feel.
No, that was at Baltimore.
Oh, that was in Baltimore. That was in Baltimore.
100%.
Yeah. You're right.
100% because I needed Buffalo for like $100,000 in that circa million.
Oh my God!
Everybody in the United States of America had Baltimore in that game.
Oh yeah.
And it was just never competitive.
Yeah. It was a stomping. Much like the stomping that Buffalo put on.
But they tried. Buffalo tried to give it away too. They were ahead. And then Baltimore scored a touchdown, and then Buffalo tried some like ridiculous flea flicker for no reason.
Yeah.
And fumbled it or something, and then next thing you know, it
was just done. Yeah, done. One question here coming in from AJ. He's saying, "Do you guys rank by ROI or win percentage on SaberSim? Can you explain the difference?"
I rank by ROI, and well, the difference is that win percentage just means the amount of time that lineup wins.
Yeah.
And I don't have any reason other than based on what the SaberSim people tell me that it's better to rank by ROI. I wish I had a better explanation, but no, I do rank by ROI.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wait, I had something else. So Buffalo, listen, they're not going to San Francisco or anything. You know what cost me 180? You know what narrative cost me 180? Dude, did you read that freaking story about that girl from the game?
No, what happened?
Oh, this is terrible. So this girl, she's some 8-year-old girl, had like cancer, and she was going to her very first football game. She was a big San Francisco fan. She had a GoFundMe or whatever, and she went with her whole family to Buffalo to this game in the driving snowstorm. Okay. And apparently some freaking drunk Buffalo guy like threw her down the stairs.
Oh my God. Oh, I vaguely heard it. I don't want to even.
Just a terrible, terrible thing. At first they're like, it's bullshit. And I know it actually happened. And this whole thing where they They did a GoFundMe, and then like even the Buffalo fans are like, "Oh my God, this is an embarrassment." They're trying to do something for her. Oh, just terrible. I'm just glad this game isn't in San Francisco, or all the Buffalo fans are going to be not saying a freaking word.
Yeah, Jesus, that's
terrible story.
God, I cannot believe that. That's disgusting. Yeah. Well, we'll look forward to the week of week 14 and closing on kind of a miserable note, but should be a fun one. We'll be live at 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. I may also do one on Friday or Saturday just to sort of go through my latest thoughts or whatever.
When did the Saturday slate start? Pretty soon, right?
They do. I believe I don't know. We had the Friday one this last week. And then Saturday,
maybe not for a little bit.
Is it next week or the week after? It might be the week. Whatever it is, they're trying to set up for so they match up with the.
So I got something to root for again. I, as you guys may or may not know, I played literally 3 best ball lineups. Okay, I did them all by hand, and back in August, when everybody else was doing it, I just kind of figured out my own system. Try to stack teams or whatever that I thought were going to be low owned if in fact I made the playoffs. Okay. So one of the 3 lineups is almost certainly going to advance. Next week is the 14th week. And after the 14th week, they see who's going to be in the playoffs. And like 15% of the teams make it or whatever. And this one's going to be one of them. And then there's week 15, 16, and 17. And then, whatever. What they say is that you're supposed to really just try to stack for like week 17, whatever. But I kind of went a different way. And I said, if everybody's doing that, I want to try to like just stack for week 16, whatever. So if I can get through week 15's playoffs somehow, I have the ultimate I don't give an F like game stack in week 16. I got all kinds of players in the Cleveland-Cincinnati game, okay, in week 16. So I need Cincinnati not give up, right? Even though they're probably not making the playoffs. And if I can bring my freaking Burrow and Chase Brown and Jamar Chase, and then like all these Browns that I have on the other side of that game, and get that I don't give an F game to go freaking ballistic for me.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'm going to be in business. So
that's awesome.
I'm going to make the playoffs almost for sure. And then week 15, that's when I have to somehow body this way through week 15. But if I can do that, then I think I'm in business. So
that's awesome. That's cool. It's crazy. I have 3 lineups. It's nuts.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, good luck to everybody this week. Thanks so much for being here with us, guys. And we'll see you Sunday at 11 Eastern and every day for NBA, NHL, all that stuff.